The night the river nearly swallowed her, no one noticed the quiet man who stepped forward, and by the time the sirens arrived, he was already gone. If you've ever believed that real heroes don't wear capes, stay with me until the end, because this story might change the way you see ordinary people forever. And if stories about courage, kindness, and second chances touch your heart, don't forget to like the video and subscribe. It helps more people discover stories like this. The rain had been falling since late afternoon, turning the city streets into shimmering ribbons of light and shadow. Traffic crawled along the Riverside Boulevard, windshield wipers beating a steady rhythm like anxious hearts. Daniel parked his aging sedan under a flickering street lamp, glancing at the clock on the dashboard. 8:42 p.m. Too late to stop for groceries. Too early to go home empty-handed. He rubbed his tired eyes. Being a single father meant every decision carried weight, every minute counted. His 8-year-old daughter, Lily, would be waiting with her homework spread across the kitchen table, probably trying to stay awake. Daniel worked 2 jobs, maintenance supervisor by day, rideshare driver by night, and exhaustion had long ago settled into his bones like a permanent tenant. But he kept going because Lily's laughter was worth every sleepless hour. He stepped out into the rain, pulling his jacket tighter as wind whipped along the river. The water below churned angrily, swollen from days of storms. That's when he heard it. A sound that didn't belong to the rain or the wind. A splash, followed by a faint cry. At first, Daniel froze. His mind tried to dismiss it, maybe debris, maybe imagination. But then he heard it again, sharper this time. Help! He ran toward the railing. Below, in the dark, a figure struggled against the current, arms flailing, barely visible between waves. Without thinking, Daniel kicked off his shoes and vaulted over the barrier. The cold hit like a punch to the chest. The river clawed at him, dragging him sideways, but he forced himself forward, eyes locked on the struggling woman. She was losing strength fast. He reached her just as her head dipped beneath the surface. Grabbing her arm, he pulled her up, fighting the current with everything he had. "Hold on," he shouted, though he wasn't sure she could hear. The swim back felt endless, muscles screaming, lungs burning, but somehow he managed to reach the embankment where a few stunned bystanders had gathered. Hands reached down, pulling them both to safety. The woman coughed violently, gasping for air. Daniel turned her onto her side, checking her breathing, murmuring reassurance. Sirens wailed in the distance. For a moment, their eyes met, hers wide with shock and gratitude, but Daniel simply nodded, stood up, and stepped back. Before anyone could ask his name, he slipped into the crowd and disappeared into the rain. By the time paramedics arrived, the hero was gone. The next morning, headlines exploded across news sites. Prominent CEO rescued from river, mysterious stranger saves her life. Her name was Victoria Hale, head of a global tech company, known for sharp decisions and relentless drive. The article described how she'd slipped while inspecting a riverside construction project during the storm. Reporters speculated endlessly about the unidentified rescuer. But Daniel was too busy packing Lily's lunch to notice. "Dad," Lily said, watching him tie her shoelaces, "you look extra tired." He smiled softly. "Just a long night, kiddo." She studied him with the serious expression children sometimes have, as if seeing truths adults miss. "Did you do something important?" Daniel paused, then shrugged. "Just helped someone." She grinned. "You always do." Days passed. Victoria recovered physically, but something had shifted inside her. Lying in the hospital, she couldn't stop thinking about the stranger, the calm in his voice, the strength in his grip, the way he vanished without seeking recognition. She ordered her team to find him. "Check traffic cameras, witnesses, anything," she insisted. Weeks went by with no leads. Meanwhile, Daniel returned to his routine, fixing broken pipes, driving late-night passengers, helping Lily with math problems and bedtime stories. Money was tight, bills stacked up. Some nights he wondered how long he could keep everything afloat. One evening, Lily asked quietly, "Dad, are we okay?" He knelt beside her. "We're more than okay. We have each other." She hugged him tightly. Across town, Victoria watched surveillance footage again, a blurry figure diving into the river. "Who are you?" she whispered. Then one day, a breakthrough came. A rideshare passenger remembered a driver mentioning jumping into the river that night. Payment records led to Daniel. Victoria insisted on meeting him personally. When Daniel received the call requesting a meeting at the company's headquarters, he assumed it was a mistake. But curiosity, and a polite insistence, led him there. The building's glass facade gleamed in the sunlight, intimidating and pristine. Inside, Victoria approached him with quiet emotion. "You saved my life," she said simply. Daniel shifted uncomfortably. Anyone would have done the same. She shook her head. "No, not everyone jumps into a storm-swollen river." They talked for hours. She learned about Lily, about his late wife, about the balancing act of single parenthood. He learned about her pressures, the loneliness behind leadership. "I've spent years chasing success," she admitted, "but lying in that river, I realized how fragile everything is." Victoria offered him a reward, financial support, a position at her company, anything he needed. Daniel hesitated. "I didn't help you for a reward," he said gently. "But stability for my daughter would mean a lot." She smiled. "Then let's build something meaningful together." Daniel accepted a role managing facilities operations, steady hours, fair pay. Life began to change. Lily thrived, her laughter filling their small apartment with warmth. Victoria found herself visiting more often, sometimes for advice, sometimes just to talk. Their friendship deepened, rooted in mutual respect. But challenges remained. Daniel struggled with imposter syndrome, feeling out of place in corporate halls. Victoria wrestled with balancing ambition and newfound appreciation for life. One evening, during a company event, Victoria spoke publicly. "Leadership isn't about titles," she said. "It's about quiet courage, the kind that steps forward when no one is watching." She looked at Daniel in the audience. Applause filled the room. Months later, the company launched a foundation supporting single parents, Daniel helping shape programs with practical insight. At home, Lily watched proudly. "You're a hero," she told him. Daniel smiled softly. Real heroes help others become strong. Years passed. The foundation changed thousands of lives. Victoria often reflected on that stormy night, how a stranger's selfless act had altered her path. And Daniel never forgot that sometimes the smallest decisions ripple outward in ways we can't imagine. One quiet evening, as sunset painted the sky in shades of gold, Lily, now older, asked, "Dad, why didn't you tell anyone you saved her?" He looked at the horizon. "Because kindness isn't about being seen," he said. "It's about doing what's right." She nodded thoughtfully. The world kept turning. Busy, noisy, but somewhere within it lived the quiet truth that one act of courage can ignite countless others. And maybe, just maybe, someone watching right now needed to hear that. If this story reminded you that ordinary people can do extraordinary things, take a moment to like the video and subscribe. Because every story shared spreads a little more hope. Remember, you never know whose life you might change by simply stepping forward. And sometimes, the greatest heroes are the ones who fade into the crowd, leaving behind a ripple that lasts forever.